Learning the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG can be very difficult for beginners. We have all made mistakes in the past playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And to this day, we're still making minor mistakes. But today I want to talk about the beginner mistakes we've all made picking up the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the first mistake we've all made was learning how to play the game from the anime. Duelist Kingdom was our first introduction into Yu-Gi-Oh! And in the anime, we saw monsters like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes being summoned without tributes. There are summoning rules in the TCG. I am sure we've all went against that one person at locals that has tried summoning Blue Eyes or Dark Magician without tributing. Now, fortunately, I think the anime kind of hurt people wanting to get into the game because of this. Duelist Kingdom introduced us to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And we would assume that we don't have to pay tribute to summon our monsters. But unfortunately in TCG, there are rules and we must pay tributes to summon level 5 or higher monsters. A second mistake beginners make is playing whatever they want in their decks because they own it. Now, we've all seen Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity in the anime, and unfortunately, those cards are banned. I'm sure we've all played against a player learning the game that learned from the anime, and you got hit with a Pot of Greed, which is not a legal card in the TCG. Remember, folks, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a ban list, and make sure we're following those guidelines and ban lists to make sure we're playing the game legally. The third mistake that kind of ties into this is that new players tend to play what they see in the animes. Now, I'm not just talking about a Yugi deck or a Seto Kaiba deck. I'm talking about cards that are like Blue Eyes support with Blue Eyes along with Dark Magician cards and spells and traps like Swords of Revealing Light, Mirror Force, and Magic Cylinder, along with Exodia and the God cards. Now, I've seen a lot of this in Master Duel, but I've seen some of this in real life. Just know that your deck is going to be very inconsistent. You want to play a deck that, you want to have fun with it, but you also don't want to brick every time you draw your hand, and you want to have combos ready for your matchups. Now, just because those cards were good in the anime doesn't mean they're going to be good for you, because you don't have plot armor. Enough for the anime stuff. The fourth mistake beginners tend to make is buying a lot of blisters and boxes in order to make a deck. Please remember that a lot of these cards that are in these sets are 3 to 4 archetypes. And in a set that you're going to be getting a lot of mixed rarities, a lot of mixed cards, and you're not going to be able to complete with just one deck you want to make. I know it's fun wanting to pull that one expensive card you need, but how much money are you actually going to spend until you actually do? For a math lesson, I will use Infinite Forbidden and Fiendsmith Engraver. Engraver costed about $100 at the time when Infinite Forbidden came out, and a box of Infinite Forbidden costed about $80. So in order for me to spend less of what a playset of engravers, I would need to buy 3 boxes. So if I do buy 3 boxes, then I will need to pull an engraver out of each box. Now, there are 10 secret rares in Infinite Forbidden. So the chances of me pulling an engraver out of one box is about 20% because you only get 2 secret rares in a box. So I will need all boxes to hit with at least one engraver in order for me to spend less money rather than spending the $300 I would need to buy a playset of engravers. So if I don't pull all of my playsets of engraver, then I'm going to have to buy a 4th box or maybe even blister packs. So buying that next box is going to cost me more than what would have been spending $300 on an engraver. Now, I'm not saying to go spend $300 on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Please don't, unless you can afford it. This game is not worth spending all that money, so buy what you can afford. The 5th mistake Yu-Gi-Oh players tend to make is overspending on TCG accessories. You do not need an expensive playmat or expensive deck box to play this game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Your local Targets, your local Walmarts, heck, even your local game shops are going to have cheap Yu-Gi-Oh TCG accessory playmats and deck boxes for you to buy. They might even have the Ultra Pro deck boxes that are small and plastic for $5. You do not need anything flashy or anything to play this game. Like I've said before, don't overspend your money on a lot of this stuff. It's not worth it unless you can afford it. Sleeves, on the other hand, you want to pay close attention to. If you have standard sleeves, there's going to be that one person at your locals that's going to call the judge because you have sleeves that don't fit your cards. So if you're going to buy sleeves, make sure you're buying Japanese size sleeves. One brand I do recommend is Imperium Duelist. Imperium Duelist has these Pegasus sleeves that fit your cards perfectly. They are good size, they shuffle well, they feel good, and they're affordable. I've been using these sleeves for so long that they have not disappointed me. So if you're interested in using some of these sleeves, the link will be down below. Mistake number 6 that beginners make is thinking any holo card they own is worth money. Just because your card is shiny doesn't mean it's going to be worth a lot. Just because your card is from a long time ago doesn't mean it's going to be worth a lot. Just because you have a starter deck Dark Magician that is bent up and held together by tape and super glue doesn't mean it's going to be worth a lot. There are multiple rarities in this game, and just because it's a secret rare or a super rare or an ultra rare doesn't mean it's going to be worth a lot. There are a lot of valuable cards that are collectible and are in the current meta that are worth the money. So there's going to be a lot of secret rares that don't matter. So if you want to know the value of your cards that you have locked up in your closet from 20 years ago, go to TCG Player and look up those cards there. That's the market everyone uses, at least here in the United States, to value their cards. Don't use eBay or Amazon. So now the final and 7th mistake beginners tend to make, which I still feel like a lot of players still make, is not reading your cards. And not even just that. Read everyone's cards. Don't go building a deck and not reading what cards do. I've made the mistake once when starting back out in Yu-Gi-Oh! Making, that pile Blue Eyes deck that I ran Stardust Chronicle Spark Dragon. Its requirements are 1 tuner synchro dragon monster and a non-tuner monster. And I ran it in Blue Eyes because I can make it with a level 9 synchro and a tuner. When I played it, my cousin told me I couldn't make it, and I was so confused why. Read your cards, people, because if you don't read your cards, you're going to make an illegal play. Heck, if you don't read your opponent's cards, they might make an illegal play. Your opponent isn't going to let you know what their cards do, even if you ask, because not everyone's nice. Learn how to read the cards, because you could get screwed over a duel or a match because you didn't read the card and your opponent may have played it illegally. I can't stress enough how much reading cards is important. I wasn't reading cards for a while, and I just trusted my opponent to do what he needed to do. But now, getting into like regionals, playing a lot of locals, I read everyone's cards to make sure I know what it's doing so I could have a response. If you don't read your cards, why are you playing the game? Anyways, that was some of the beginner mistakes I've had in mind that I want to make a video to hopefully help out the people wanting to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want y'all to make these mistakes, but I do want you to have fun with this game. So, if y'all like this video, please let me know. Comment down below if I missed something, if y'all have any recommendations, or maybe if I should keep doing more of these videos. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.